Hey everybody, it's Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, Lone Star Mopars.com. Just cranked out a long overdue video on the stud pullers. Long overdue because I haven't had a need to open them yet. So, picked them up on a fairly decent BOGO deal. $99 is the retail price. We paid $99 for both, fractional and metric. So, again, with this Mac stuff, I'm still kind of trying to feel it out. I started this day thinking I was going to film a Mac tool haul, and it would have been these two items and this next one. But I started thinking about it, and I'm like, you know, if I was looking at a Mac flyer and there was a set of stud pullers, and I was like, yeah, I wonder if there's any like recent videos on that, or if I can find some information. I'm going to throw down the part numbers. I'm going to type in Mac stud pullers, all that jazz, and I could find this video. If I do Mac tool haul number 7 and we've got ratchets and hammers and wrenches and pliers and a roll car, like, it's a great video, very entertaining, but it doesn't really serve people as well long term. Like, if you look at it from the perspective of I'm a potential buyer of this product on a deal or sale, or I just freaking need one, you know, and you're scouting the Mac option, that's kind of why I'm tentatively kind of making these standalone. Sometimes if I'm going to spend a ton of time, I'll just default to that. But I was thinking like, okay, yeah, stud pullers aren't super exciting. I'll just throw them in with something else. It'll, you know, not take long. Ultimately, we decided to standalone them so we could standalone this. And before I throw it down, I want to know from you, do you prefer that? Just in the event, like, you know what, he's got a point. Like, I'm never going to remember if I wanted to come back and look at what's in this video. I'm going to be able to find it. I'll know what to call it. It should pop up. I don't have to go hunt through a playlist or skim thumbnails that he's got. Similarly, is it just, I don't care. It's way more entertaining if you had 5 randomly unrelated items. And screw the person that's looking for anything. Whatever your thoughts, good or bad, just let me know. But this one is more fresh. It's something I've wanted since I saw that it was available with Mac. I learned a sort of bonus about it not long after it had come out, and then it's currently in the flyer. I think this is the first time they've been in the flyer at a discounted price. These were in the flyer, I know, once, possibly twice since they came out, but I don't think they've ever been discounted. So, standard price would be $139. Kind of spendy, especially when you know what I know, which you probably know if you watch the channel. I assume you know. You'll know soon if you don't know. Confused yet? There we go. This, which you can only see part of, unfortunately, is Mac's SDP30. That is going to be a 3-piece set in orange. If you can see the heads up there, orange. There you go, right? This packing here covering up some more orange. And you're thinking like, okay, what is this? What's going on here? Well, you're going to see 3/16 by 4, quarter by 5, 5/16 by 6. Conveniently, we've also got these standalone part numbers. Should we lose one, or we're like, hey, I never use this big one, but man, I'd love to have another one of these to throw over here in the shop. You can just go to town with your dealer and say, hey, get me this one. This is pretty cool, but also, again, kind of sad. Let's just get the bad news out of the way, all right? This is a product from Mayhew. You're thinking like, oh, what's wrong with that? Mayhew's great. Made in America. I love them. Is this not made in America? This is made in America. It's made by Mayhew up in Massachusetts. It's American-made as far as I know. At least the Mayhew versions I've got are. And that's the problem. There is a Mayhew version. Mayhew kind of launched them. Of course, you can find these on a couple different rebadged, repurposed things, if you will. And I don't fault Mac at all for selecting Mayhew for this type of a thing. Mayhew's very good. You think of their Dominator line, pry bars, etc. This, if you're still like, what the heck is that? You know, like quarter, 5/16, 3/16. These are like screwdriver sizes. Yes, and what did we just talk about? Pry bars. And what did we just talk about prior to that? Screwdrivers. What do you usually do with flathead screwdrivers? You use them as a pry bar. What do those screwdrivers usually do? Break. All right. This is Mayhew's answer to that problem. It is their pry driver. Now, you may or may not know, but I have made a video on those. and it's never released because the front end of the video, which had Mayhew pocket pry bars and then gatewayed into this, it totally corrupted. I do not have that file. It's probably like 15 minutes worth, and then I've got the back end of it, and it's like, well, what do I do with that? And I've not done anything with it because I've not known what to do. Other problem is I have those at work. What I'm going to do after filming this, I'm going to bring, I don't know if I'll bring the whole set or just like one or two of them. I'm going to bring them back so I can kind of show you real world actual usage over time and then compare directly to this. So if you're into this and you're like, oh, Mayhew, that's going to be cheaper, that's the next video. So this 140 Spindy for 3 drivers foam, cool. I'll give them credit for that. We'll even like graciously overvalue it at 40 bucks, which I don't think it should cost, but it probably would. Then that puts these pry drivers at like 100. That's 33 a piece. Yikes. What did I pay for a 3-piece set of Mayhew pry drivers? I want to say it was like 60-ish. I could be wrong. It's been a while, but I would say 40, 50, 60, somewhere in there. I probably thriftily got a discount of some sort. Lower the price a little. It's probably gone up since then. I've had them for quite a while, actually. I was very, very excited about them, and I was super excited to make the video, and I did, and as you know, it just didn't work out. But we'll come in here and we'll just go with what Mac wants us to know about them. So again, SD PD30. And what does Mac call this? It is a 3-piece strikable prying screwdriver set, and then it is in orange. I know some of you may be curious, what other colors? Well, obviously red, Mac's default. The green Mac color, which is more like these Alpha gloves. Discount code of Lone Star saves you 20%. I don't make jack off that. And you're thinking like, I want them in purple. And hey, I know Mac has the purple pry bars from Mayhew. They do. I've not seen them actually drag that over to the pry drivers, which hopefully that's something that they will do, in part because the purple foam looks sick. But with these, I'm kind of committed to the orange for reasons you hopefully understand. But right here, this is a hybrid. It's a screwdriver and it's a pry bar, but it's actually a screwdriver designed to be used as a pry bar. Or is it a pry bar that can double its life as a screwdriver? That's for you to decide, but essentially this is like Vera's chisel driver. It is intended to be abused, right? This isn't like you're getting a really nice Mac screwdriver and you're banging on the back end. This is a standard deal. And again, interestingly to me, particularly coming from the German tools, I can get striking caps on pretty much anything. When have you seen a striking cap on a snap-on screwdriver? Mac? Matco? I don't even see them pushing it, yet they sternly tell you, don't hammer the screwdriver. That's not warranted. That's abuse. So it's kind of bizarre that they didn't have anything, and I guess this sort of helps fill a gateway. I still think it's absolutely ludicrous that the tool trucks don't offer striking cap screwdrivers. But not just for abuse like a pry bar, but just for general like benefits of having a striking cap screwdriver, if you know what I mean. So this should look a lot better once I get it out of this packaging. Number one, we'll get it away from the red and yellow, but two, when this comes off, you'll get to see a little bit more orange. Spinning this around, there is really not a lot of information on here, sort of the same thing regurgitated. However, on the back, this includes, again, the 3/16 will be 4-inch long, quarter is 5, 5/16 is 6. Hardened and tempered alloy steel bar for prying power. Steel reinforced handle with a metal cap for striking durability. And it's got the much loved by me and maybe some others bi-material handle designed for comfort and grip. Again, I know the Mayhews are like 2/3 the cost of this set without the foam. The Mayhews are significantly cheaper, right? Interestingly, even though it's in the Dominator line, made in America, as far as I know, as of me recording this, you can only get the Mayhews in their default red. Like, they've got great color options for just a standalone company. They've got blue, orange, green. But in terms of their pry drivers, I haven't seen them expand the color offerings. Also, if you're thinking like, you know what, I think I've seen these somewhere, what's the catch? Well, you have, And it was probably a Mac tool show. And what they did is they had a whole bunch of brand X screwdrivers, and they would come in with like a ridiculously heavy load, which is not too far off of what some people do. Break, 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 and then they would take this, stand on it, and it would lift, and it would come back out, and it's not broken. So I don't know that Mayhew really promoted them that way, but Mac certainly had something in place. Also right there, made in USA. Fan-freaking-tastic. So if you're thinking like, hey man, if you've got the Mayhew version and they're at work, why did you buy this? Why, when you know that this is rebranded from Mayhew, and you know what the Mayhew costs and how much cheaper it is than the Mac, why on earth would you do this? Are you mental? What's the catch? You know, just you really like the orange that much? I've told you before, I will pay for colors. I do think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it at that price point. Like, that's kind of ridiculous of a jump in my opinion. That said, man, that foam looks good. What I can tell you is there's other reasons for doing that. First and foremost, again, I've kind of got a sweet setup going that's going to just be stupid fun for me to look at and use all the time with this. This one, finally, 2 days ago, my nephew came out, and we were having to put some stuff together, and I let him christen it with a center punch. So this one got some action. I do think I'm going to pull the trigger on the 2-pounder. I've got some other things I could say about this, but I'm going to wait, because if I do what I think I might do, it's going to be really stupid, but it's going to look so freaking good. It's going to be cool. That said, this set is for home, and you're thinking like, okay, well, if you're not taking it to work, do the ones at work, they must not suck, or you wouldn't have bought this at all. That is correct. If the Mayhew pry drivers at work, if I hated them, if I didn't like them, I would not purchase this from Mac, even if it's the color, even if it's the foam tray, even if it's the handle that I prefer. The Dominator handle on Mayhew's pry bars is a great handle until my hands get wet. And they get wet a lot, whether that's through fluid or just me being really, really, really hot. It seems like I'm either really, really hot or I'm freezing, and there's not much in between when I'm at work. This handle is just like my Mac pry bars. I love it. I will pay extra for it. Again, that's where you come into a deal where I know the tool truck equivalent. I'm aware of the price difference, but I justify it by the handle, I justify it by the color, and I justify this by the ease of warranty. I'm pretty sure Mayhew will warrant the pry drivers. I'm not 100%, don't hold me to that, but I know Mac will. And I straight up asked my dealer, I was like, I don't know if he like didn't follow me or if he just like doesn't care, you know, type of a thing, but I was like, if I use this on spot welds, you know, it's going to be warranted. He's like, yeah. And I was like, okay then. So what I do, I have picked up within the past 2 years or so some more like spot weld specific tools, like stuff designed to break spot welds. Yes, I usually drill them out with a Blair spot weld cutter, but there's always something sticking. There's always like floor plan or trunk floor or something that's still there, and I just come in and hack it out. And it works really well. And I should have had the thing with me because I have it here somewhere, but I've got like an old yellow ugly nasty acetate driver, and I have not cracked it yet. I don't know how. The other ones, I either like send the handle down the shaft and they get really weird, I bend the shafts, I just shatter the handle. Again, a lot of this predates me getting like way better tools than I had. But I have picked up, I think one's from Steck. It's almost like a scythe. I'm kind of excited about it. And then it seems like I got something else. But I want to throw these at it because so many, like the screwdriver is so many times like the perfect size and all you can fit one or the other. And then it's worked. And so this is like designed for it. And if I screw it up, I get it warranted. So, you know, there we go. I will tell you a sad thing about the set at work. Aside from this one is just like, it's getting beat up really bad. Like my Vera chisel driver at work It does look nothing like this. The thing is filthy, and it's like chewed up here, where this makes impact with whatever I'm driving the blade into. Someday I'll bring it back, or I'll show you at work or something. But on my Mayhews, this one and this one get used a lot. Granted, they're oriented commonsensically with the small left, bigger right, because again, 1, 2, 3. It's one of my pet peeves there. This big one for Mayhew, it's vibrant red. It looks fantastic. And then these others are like spotty and smudgy and greasy and nasty looking. And it's because I rarely have stuff that I can get this tip underneath. There's certain times, yes, I can, and I will use it, and it usually just pops it off. But most of the time, I've got like a gap that doesn't exist. You know, it's like either just minuscule or it just period does not exist. I have to make it. A lot of times on these staples, like the board is flush, and I will literally have to come in, hammer down, divot into the wood, and then kind of reposition and hammer, and that's sort of where like you start running this in. I'm not sure that this won't be a more slightly impervious to the damage I incur here because of this, the way the handle is designed. The Mayhew one, I will say, is quite nice in hand. I did, I think, nitpick like the part lines on the mold when I was making that video. But this one right here will probably see a crud ton of use, just like at work. The Mac orange here, very, very nice. Again, you've got your part number, standalone for this tool. You've got USA on there. Again, striking cap here. This is tang through. It runs length. This is square stock. I don't know that I'd want to use these as a screwdriver. These don't really come to a fine tip. In fact, today, I thought, you know, I had this video on my mind. Thought, you know, I might go home and make that. And so I busted out with the Mayhew. And what I wound up having to go back to was a little Vera chisel driver, because it just comes to a finer tip, you know. That's kind of how I've broken all the German drivers I've broken at work, is basically driving them under staples. All right. So, and then again, what do I do that for? Well, I often salvage the wood to fix pallets, and that's exactly what I did today. It worked out beautifully. But this will probably, as odd as it is to have these 3 drivers, this will probably be the one that I use the most. I'm kind of thinking with the bodywork stuff, this quarter drive might actually be a little bit better, just the length, and it's not that much thicker. But if you look at the profile here, like this is what I'm needing to get wedged in. I sort of wish it had more of a taper. I totally understand why they don't do that, because they probably test it and find that it breaks. All right, but it would be pretty nice if it was just a little more slim, if you will. But I have to tell you, I love what Mac did with this foam. I think this is sort of like vitamin C. It's not a Hemi orange. This is kind of closer to Hemi orange than this. This outlay here, where they have this perimeter tracing around the entire piece of foam and then the part number, that matches the handle very well. This is super bright, super vibrant in here, sort of contrast of color. There is the side foam dimensions before we forget. We'll just come in here. We're going to call that 8.5 wide. We'll go 12.5. And then the thickness, which could be important for drawer height if you're going to store it that way, we'll go 1.25 inches, 1.250. For the longest time, when I just knew the price, I was like, my lord, how can they charge that? That's insane. I did not know it came with a foam tray. I have also kind of changed my stance on foam trays. I went from like, what a waste of space, which it still kind of is. You could totally compact this a little bit more, but this is nice. The presentation's great. I can't fault them for that. Would I prefer that we shave half that space out? Sure. But I think if I do what I think I'm going to do, we're going to have a really cool setup. And again, it's just gonna be great for me. And like I said, that comes from a guy that was using a claw hammer and acetate handled screwdrivers that had the ends messed up. I didn't like ever sacrifice a really good tool. It was already something that was like kind of like sort of junked, but I knew it would get ruined doing what I was doing with it even more. So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, this is what I picked up. Again, $119 was the flyer price. Not a huge savings, But 20 bucks is 20 bucks. If you pick these up and you got another deal and you got 20 bucks on it, that basically gets you the 3/8 drive breaker bar that's in the flyer this time around, right? Not a bad way of looking at your totally justified purchases. But like I said, I do want to, especially before I get this thing like messed up, I want to compare this to the Mayhew for you, and just kind of let you see the differences head to head. And then it'll be really cool because this Mayhew is in great shape, so I can get you like virgin stock versus almost virgin stock, and then I can get you like brand new versus, well, what has he been doing to that thing? And you'll sort of have a real world feel for how they hold up, what issues I've run into, how it compares here, and then kind of decide like, you know what, that Mayhew handle looks totally fine to me. It's less than half the price. I'm going that direction. Or, you know, you might say like, man, I wish I would have caught that on the flyer sale. I think that's kind of high, like he said, but if I factor in the price of the foam and then the flyer, it's not terribly far off, especially when I get my green. All right. And I'm sure since I've made this video, and if some of you go out and buy this as well, that's when Mayhew's probably going to release their colorways in the Pry driver line. But what I want to know from you, I'm sure a ton of you picked these up, be it from Mac or a different vendor, or even perhaps Mayhew. If you have, how have they held up? What are you doing with them? Have you broken one? Did you have any trouble with the warranty, whether it was Tool Truck or Mayhew? Similarly, how does it compare to what you found that it replaced, or what have you possibly replaced these with? Have you found something better? Similarly, just for kicks and giggles, what were you using prior to having something like this? Was it your great screwdrivers? Was it a junker set? You know, do you have a drawer full of your Snap-on Instinct handles you swear by, but you don't ever use them for much? Especially stuff like this, because you have junk brand Y here, or, you know, hey, I got this Cobalt set as a white elephant gift, and I just basically abuse them because I don't care, and it's held up great in that situation. Whatever you've got to share, feel free to do so. Again, the end goal is just to help people out. So, like I said at the start, if you've got an opinion, if you're like, you know what, yeah, keep this standalone. If you go out and you buy the 2-pound drilling hammer, just make a freaking 5-minute video on it, man. Maybe 8 for you, but, you know, just make the short video. And similarly, if you're like, I'd rather see the 2-pound drilling hammer and a small one and the rest of the hammer set, and then like more, I don't care if it's a socket you bought one off, just, you know, make it an interesting video. Again, I try to think of what I would want to see, and while from an entertainment perspective, I'd rather see you get a ratchet, a hammer, you know, a socket set, a random one-off thing for a weird deal that doesn't even pertain to me. You know, a magnet because you were there and saw it and thought it would be handy, versus here's part number XXY from the catalog. It was in this flyer. This is what it is, what it cost, what I got it for. But in the long term, I feel like the standalone individual item might be more beneficial to people. So let me know your thoughts there, and we will adjust accordingly. But this looks really, really good. Sadly, again, I didn't get to see it in green. He had 2 other people that I guess are like, hey, I've seen that in the flyer, I want it. And I didn't see it, but I assume it would look just like my breaker bars at work. Pry bars, I should say. But yeah, that's what I did. $119 again. Foam always costs more than you think, and to their credit, this is pretty nice. So 20 to 40 bucks there. We'll just average it out, happy medium of 30. 119 minus 30, we're looking at 89. We'll just call it 90. That's $30 a piece. That's still kind of up there. But when you consider, like, the first time you break this, if you do break it, we'll just assume you do, you get a new one. Then all of a sudden, this particular tool went from $30 to $15. And if I don't have to deal with whatever Mayhew would make me do, like pay freight, that's great. If I break this tonight, I can have my, granted it would take me a week because my dealer came today, but I can text him and say like, dude, look at this, unacceptable, get me another one. And I've got it, you know, probably the next week. And I didn't have to pay freight, didn't have to do anything. And then again, if I break it a 3rd time, we've now made this a $10 tool. If I break it a 4th time, all right, we break it down to $750. You get the idea. It's something where the warranty over time, if you need to mine that deep into the purchasing decision, that's where you potentially come out on top. As is, this is a very tough pill to swallow when you know they're Mayhew and you know the Mayhew equivalent is like half the price. So, colors, foam, warranty, it's up to you. I can't fault you either way, and obviously I did both myself. So, the good news is this Mayhew iteration I've liked well enough that I wanted to pick this up. I patiently waited until it was on sale, and I have $20 more in my wallet because of that. So with that said, I will quit rambling. I do hope you enjoyed. Again, your thoughts and opinions always appreciated. LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. If you haven't subscribed, I encourage you to do so. If you jump your Charger across the creek, you crash down, you got to help somebody, use your big Mac pry driver 5/16 by 6 inch to successfully lift their Geo Metro out of the muck and the mire. YouTube just might notify you. We got new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, 9 a.m. Texas time. With that said, thanks so much for watching, and I hope I catch you back here for more from the shop. Also, bonus, while I think about it, I've complained about this, so I've got to give them credit. Not only was the foam well done, but this tray, instead of having it just vacuum formed, I like that it was supported. Alright, so I will critique things, but when I see them corrected or improved or certain products actually make more sense, I will always give the credit back. So, with that said, have a good one. I'll catch you back for more on the show.